all you non-musicians out there, I figure it might be nice to see what a typical practice session might look like for a musician. So I wanted to share that with you. It's not always straightforward getting from a song you want to play to actually playing it. So this is me practicing a song that I want to cover as part of my Me Again extended play. My hands are a bit sweaty, so I'm struggling a bit with the strings. This is what I'm looking at. Up here are the chords, and I practice the chord progression before I practice singing along with it, which is why the music I put in the description might look a little different from what you might see on those guitar apps where they put the chords right above where the chord changes. It makes it more intuitive for me. Right now I'm putting my hands in front of my fan to try to dry the sweat off a little bit. As fun as it might be to practice, sometimes you gotta be practical too. I noticed you can't see my fingers, so So I play ukulele a little differently from how they might teach it, which I use my thumb to push down a lot of these on the first string. I think, we've got opposable thumbs, why not use them? And it makes it feel a lot more natural to my hand, helps my grip, and it makes it a little easier for me to do some chord changes. So for uke, it's less about using the right fingers for each fret you press down, and it's more about figuring out what fingers to use when you transition from one chord to another to make it as smooth as possible. Now, there are some chords where I only have one way of playing them, but for a chord like C, you can press that down with any one of your fingers, and that makes it a lot easier to go from G7 to C major, like that. So the song I'm practicing is Be Wherever You Are from Steven Universe. It's a song that I really love, and it felt like it fit the vibe of Me Again perfectly. One thing I do is I practice slow. This is generally what you should do. Before you try to play it at speed, you should play it slowly. If you can play it well slow, then you can speed it up as you get better. This song is really nice because it uses the same chord progression for each section, except for the ending, which I forgot to write down when I printed it out. So I can just practice that one chord progression, and then eventually I can add the different lyrics to it, which is another reason why I put the chord progression at the top. Another song I've been learning is Ballad of the Witch's Road, Lorna Lou version. And so that one's a little more complicated. So what I did was I put the chord progression above the line that the chord progression goes in, but I trusted my fingers to know when to change each chord, which trusting your intuition is one of the most important parts of learning an instrument. Shining stars, isn't it nice to find yourself somewhere different? Whoa, why don't you let yourself just be wherever you are? Look at this place, look at your faces. I've never seen you look like this before. Isn't it nice to find yourself somewhere different? Whoa, isn't you? Why don't you let yourself just be wherever you are? Look at this place, look at your faces, shining like 1,000 shining stars. Isn't it nice to find yourself somewhere different? Whoa, why don't you let yourself just be wherever you are? Why don't you And then the ending bit I forgot to write down, so I'll have to look that up and add it in by pencil later. One thing that helps me with practicing is switching what I practice frequently so I don't get bored. And that might not be what they say is best practice, but it's best practice for me. And figuring out the best practice for you instead of the best practice generally is very important in my opinion. So this is another song I've been working on practicing. Listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once. I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stoned? shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's lack of sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore, so quit my whining 'cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? I don't know. So this next bit, so in the guitar app, it says to repeat this chord change 5 times. But personally, I just think that's too much, especially when on a ukulele, it just sounds really repetitive. So what I want to get to doing is 3 instead of 5. It's an odd number for a reason, but taking 2 out shortens it a little bit and makes that transition a little easier. I could also do 1. I'm still undecided on how I want to do it. Grasping to control, so I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stoned? Now this hand got really sweaty. It's a bit hot in my room, so I'm gonna turn my fan up. Now, one thing that's really fun, I want to practice Ballad of the Witch's Rose. So, this one is 4 pages. I could have made it multi-column and cut it down to 2, but I was kind of silly and I forgot to do it. I printed it just from my notes app. Because I don't have the Guitar Premium. But figuring out how I wanted to write it in a way that I understood made me understand it better. The deeper you understand the songs you're playing, the better you can play them, which is part of why they tell you to play along with the song. And if you understand what they do, you can also figure out how to change it to make it your own. I think that covering songs is about capturing the essence of the original and mixing your own essence into it, not about covering it as accurately as possible. This is just ginger ale. Staying hydrated is very important, especially since, I'm sweating. I have learned the lesson. I have learned the lesson of all that's found fair, all that's found unfair. Considering how sweaty I'm doing, I'm thinking it might be better to practice something a little simpler. That way I can still build up some of the calluses on my fingers, but it won't be too rough on me. So right now I'm looking at the music that I printed for those 4 songs in the Me Again EP. And thinking about this one. Now this one uses the same chord progression throughout the whole thing. But here, here, and here, here and here, it does 1 set of the down, down, up, for each chord. But here and here, it does 2, here it does 2 sets of each. And here it does 1 set again. Or, I can't remember. but my fingers remember, and that's what's really important. Finally know what I'm missing. Finally hear what I've been tuning out. Finally see what I've learned to ignore. Finally I feel like me again. Finally I can hear your love again. Finally I can see you, reach out to you, my friend. Finally I can feel your warmth again. Finally I feel like I'm me again. I feel like myself for the first time in a while. I've been ages since my lips held such a real smile. Laughter was fake, but it's natural now. Love who I am, and now I know how. It's Adderall, it's Adderall. All I needed was some Adderall. It's Adderall. I can't figure out whether I want to use my head voice or my chest voice, which, your head voice is this, and your chest voice is this, and I got them mixed up. Your chest voice is like this, and your head voice is like this. I personally think my chest voice is prettier, but only when I'm confident, and so my head voice is something I use a lot, which, yeah. Now, I'm thinking it's too hot to play much longer, but that's okay, because I got a little bit of work in with both hands. I got the feeling of a lot of it much better, and taking the time to practice on my terms. Actually, looking at my papers, I was gathering them up, and I want to do this one. I'm realizing that my hand is going out of frame. I tend to hold it down like this because it feels more natural for my elbow and wrist. Let me hold this down first a little, so you can see it better. And see, taking a break from it made it easier when I came back to it. And I'll probably be uploading this one later today because I think I'm really getting the hang of it. So what I'm going to do, oh, my boyfriend texted me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the Tabs and Chords app, this one, and get a pencil. I got it hearted so I can come back to it. Now, what I'm going to do is scroll down, and it's looking like alright. D minor, and then for this one, it's a little funky, so I'm going to write it right above. And now I've got it written in, so I'm going to practice that part. Why don't you let yourself just be somewhere different? Whoa, why don't you let yourself just be whoever you are? Now that bit's a little tricky. Don't you let yourself just be somewhere different? Whoa, why don't you let yourself just be whoever you are? And as you practice, you might figure out how to strum it. So I decided to do a single strum for each of those chords at the ending because I thought that that sounded more natural and it made it easier for me to play. But if you're learning the song, learn it your way. That's the biggest takeaway. Yeah. I'll put the pencil away. Get another drink of ginger ale. Now, for me, learning uke is just sessions like this. And if there's a song that I want to learn these days, I want to get the lyrics and then put the chords in myself. It's way easier for me to learn the chord progressions and then add the lyrics on top of it. This is not helpful for me at all. There's another song I've been learning, Amsterdam by Imagine Dragons. It's one of my favorites. It's got a pretty simple chord progression, but when you have the chords right on top, it's hard to remember. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up the lyrics to Amsterdam. Wi-Fi's bad, so I think I might cut this video here, but I hope this was helpful for anyone trying to learn an instrument or wanting to learn an instrument, and I hope it helped give insight on what that process can be like. You don't have to do things the way I do them, just like I don't do things the way other people do them. Whatever works the best for you. You as a human are so capable of learning anything you want. You can learn ukulele, you can learn guitar, you can learn piano, you can learn clarinet, you can learn anything. And sometimes the way you insert this instrument into your life and turn it into an extension of yourself is going to be a little different than how it's the extension of someone else. And I think it's really important that we recognize that. It makes it so much more fun.